of international aid. So, this is our fifth lecture, and today we are going to start with the uses of foreign aids and types of foreign aids. Uses of foreign aid. Foreign aid may be given as a signal of diplomatic approval or to strengthen a military ally. Other reasons to give foreign aid include to reward a government for behavior desires by the donors, to extend the donor's culture, influence to provide the infrastructure by donor, for resource extraction from the recipient country, or to gain other kind of commercial success. U.S. aid may oftentimes buy assistance for American citizens in the nation, alter the courses of government laws, or something similar in a way that benefits U.S. interests. In the case of Peru, back in 1990s, Peru's conspiracy changed in policy of not allowing religion missionaries in the country or even jailing them upon arrival after a promise of aid to bail out the peso. Suddenly, mem- more Mormons or other groups had access to the nation without harassment. Now moving on to next slide, here we are going to study that what are the types of foreign aids. There are six types of foreign aids, which I'm going to name it: bilateral aid, multilateral aid, tied aid, project aid, military aid, and voluntary aid. We are going to start with the bilateral aid. Assistance given by government directly to the government of other country is bilateral aid. It is when the capital flows from a developed nation to a developing country. Strategic political consideration and humanitarians ones often direct bilateral aid. These are to assist in long term projects to promote democracy, economic growth, stability, and development. Now, moving on to the next type, which is multilateral aid. Multilateral aid is assistance provided by many provi- Multilateral aid is the assistance provided by many governments who pool funds to international organizations like World Bank, United Nations, and International Monetary Funds. These funds are then used to reduce poverty in developing nations, though this sector con- constitutes a minority of the US foreign aids. The nation's contribution make up a significant percentage of the donor fund received by the organization. Now moving on towards the third type, which is tied aid. Tied aid is one of the type of foreign aid that must be spent in country providing support the donor country. In a group of selected countries, a developed country will provide a bilateral loan or grant to a developing country, but mandate that the government spend the money on goods or services produced in selected country. Fourth type is project type. Like the fourth type of aid is project aid. Project aid is when the funds are used to finance a particular project, such as a school or a hospital. It is considered to be project aid. The fifth type is military aid. Military aid is never charitable. The US gave about $15 billion in military aid in 2011. Military aid usually requires the receiving nation to either buy arms or defense contra- contracts directly from USA. In other cases, it just simplifies the process by having a federal government only purchase the arms itself and ship them over on military transport. Voluntary aid. Voluntary aid is aid usually in a form of charity. For example, Doctors Without Borders is the international humanitarian non government organization best known for its project in war torn religion and developing countries affected by endemic diseases. We are going to study over here that what are the advantages of foreign aids. The economic reason for giving foreign aid for there are many advantages of foreign aid, but here we are going to study few of them. One of them is for the humanitarian reason to improve the country's international image, continue to build positive working relationship with other governments, to promote the conditions for peace and stability, because many governments genuinely believe we will be safer and happier when everyone else is safe and happy. Slide, we are going to discuss some of the disadvantages of the foreign aid. The economic argument for not giving foreign aid is, according to the crisis, foreign aid does not promote faster growth but may hold it back by substitution for domestic saving and investment. The growth of the modern sector is the focus of aid. As a result, it increases the gap in living standards between the rich and the poor in third world countries. The aid given in concern with unproductive fields or other technology will not have the effect of increasing inflation in the country. The most prominent object is that donor countries interfere with economic and political activities of the recipient country.